Hello, everyone. Chris Shubert from CNSG welcoming you to our first Heavy Hitters call. Guys, we've got an action-packed event for you today. Definitely going to be the best 45 minutes of your day. What we're trying to do here with Heavy Hitters is something a little bit different. There's a lot of virtual events out there, a lot of happy hours, and a lot of PowerPoints and a lot of tech dumps. We're not doing that today. The mission of Heavy Hitters is to provide you, our sales partner community, with solid sales strategies that can help you win in 2020. Probably the most unique year that any of us have ever dealt with in our sales careers. We've got a power-packed panel today, two different sections. We're going to be talking CCaaS and then CPaaS. My promise to you is, aside from these logo slides, no PowerPoints, no tech dumps. This is all going to be about strategy. Without further ado, let's get rolling with our first CCaaS Battle Royal. The rules here are very simple. Again, no tech dumps. Keep your answers short, pithy, and to the point. And please stay away from those sales pitches. So I've got a star-studded cast of the leaders in the industry, as well as an outstanding newcomer to CCaaS. But we're going to get things started with our friends over at Genesys. Alex, you want to take us through who you are and what you do at Genesys?
How's it going, everybody? My name is Alex Ball. I run sales for North America for our CCaaS platform called Genesys Cloud. So Genesys is a large software company based in the Bay Area. We have the distinct honor of saying that we have the smallest contact center of one seat and also the largest global cloud contact center at 33,000 seats running on the same platform. So really excited to talk with you guys today.
Welcome, Alex. Thanks for joining. Rusty?
Yeah, my name is Rusty Jensen. So I'm a VP of Revenue Generation at Nice and Contact. I've been at Nice and Contact for 10 years. I've had 7 different positions, from being an actual sales developer to running our sales development organization to running our mid-market sales organization and selling the product. So I've carried a bag. I understand it. And now I run our pipeline generation for Nice globally. So I work with both our channels and our direct sides, and I work to set the strategy and build the processes we need to build our pipeline and help our partners to build theirs. So that's really what I do. Nice and Contact, we have been around for the last 20 years in the cloud as a contact center provider, the first pure play contact center provider in the market. We were bought by Nice about 3.5 years ago, and it's been an awesome marriage. So it's gone very well, and that's who we are, here to help you.
Outstanding. And I think of everyone here today, we're the most envious of your background, because that's a heck of a game room you have there, sir.
And we have a lot of fun over here.
Now, from our market leaders at Nice and Contact and Genesys, I also want to take an opportunity to introduce our rookie in the CCaaS world with CNSG and a true up-and-comer with Aircall. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Jeff Reekers. I'm Vice President of Marketing and Partnerships at Aircall. Aircall's cloud contact center software. It's really focused on the SMB, focused on integration, self-service, ease of use, average seat size somewhere between 20 and 100 typically. We're based out of New York City and Paris. We have about 300 employees, rose a lot of the capital to date. And we were formed in 2015, so to Chris's point, fairly new on the market, but excited to be here and hopefully give a bit more insights on what we've seen in the market. Also, side note, I played professional baseball when I was younger. I always thought that when I was on a baseball card, it would look a little bit different from what we have, but I think this is better nonetheless.
Well, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's get down into the fun part, or as I like to say, round one, as we begin our battle royal. So first question I have for you guys, and Genesys, we're going to start with you, Alex, is 2020 obviously is not what we thought it was going to be. It's been a very different year so far. And my goal is actually not to mention that dreaded word the entire call today. Well, we'll see if I can get past that. But in this unique era, what sales strategy is really successful in the contact center world for you guys today? Alex?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it without saying the dreaded word, but I think the main thing is focusing on customers' business continuity, and I think that's kind of a little bit of a buzzword that everybody talks about is business continuity. when in reality, what a lot of us talk about, we talk about having a second data center, third data center like that. That's not real true business continuity. I mean, it's about staying in business. It's about keeping the lights on. And so our approach over the past several months has really turned to how can we help you stay afloat, right? Whether especially in the small to mid-size type customers, in the large enterprises, they've got strong balance sheets, they've got bailout money, they'll be fine. But in those medium to kind of mid-sized customers, they're the ones that are they don't know what next month looks like. And so our approach, along with our partners, has been try to be very empathetic, focus on how can we use our technology to provide a bridge to get you through this process, whether that's working from home, setting up remote, doing it fast, pushing out cost, preserving cash flow, whatever it might be. I think that's the approach that is certainly resonating in this kind of weird market.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as these customers develop kind of the next phase of their world, right, it's all going to be about these business problems, right? So the day, and not saying that we were ever a luxury purchase, and Rusty and I have been doing this for a long time. We're not, nobody comes by the Nice in Contact or Genesys or Aircall websites and like, oh, that looks cool, I'll buy that, right? It's all about solving a problem. But those problems, that ROI is going to need to stand up a little bit tougher in the new world of preserving cash flow.
Very much a problem-centered approach. Very cool. Rusty, how about Nice in Contact as another long-standing player in the community? What sales strategy is driving your business today?
Right now, I think we're in the middle of a triage moment, right? Where contact centers and businesses are trying to figure out what to do, how to manage it. How are we going to get agents home? How are we going to make sure that we keep our business, as Alex said, as a continuous functional operating unit? But it's going to quickly shift. And what it's going to shift to is I need to be able to conserve capital. I need to be able to operate efficiently, but I still need to be able to present in a competitive market my best face from a loyalty standpoint. That's what businesses have to do. So when we go into these sales cycles, we're not focused on, just the technology, features, benefits, whiz bang. What we're focused on is how do we actually solve your problem of reducing your actual costs? And the first temptation that all of your clients are going to have out in the market is, let's cut the cost of the technology itself. What can we remove? What kind of platforms can we consolidate to or remove? And we can solve that in some ways, but really what we've got to get our businesses to focus on is how do we use technology to reduce labor cost? How do we use the technology to maintain a higher customer satisfaction and reduce labor cost? Because that's going to be 80% of the cost of a contact center budget. So when we get in, we start consulting with these clients and working with them. It's about helping them see what's really going to help their business, because some of them may hurt themselves by just dropping technology. Technology is a lever to help them operate and be more effective, and we give them a much better outcome. So ROI, helping them understand how moving certain metrics hit certain results and can save them financially, that's exactly what our approach is. And it works very well. It's just sound business. Sound business.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because over the last several years we've been focused so much on selling value, and really have moved away from just trying to save customers money. But we're going to be shifting back to that in this new economy and doing cost optimization that might be looking at the human factor, and using contact center to help that. I think is a proven method that will allow Nice in Contact and Genesys to continue to roll forward in 2020. Now, for our partners, we've got a huge cross-section of folks here on the call today, and thank you so much for the attendance on this first call. I really appreciate that personally. But we have folks that are proven names in the industry, and we also have folks that are a little newer. And Aircall, Jeff, you and your company, you're newer to the channel, newer to CNSG, and that puts you in a position where folks may not always know who you are. Much like some of our partners, they may not know who that partner is. What sales strategy is helping Aircall as kind of that newcomer in the industry to really drive forward in 2020?
Yeah, there's two ways we've thought about this. And Alex hit on one thing that I think resonates quite well, and the word empathy. And what we've thought about it is very simple. Help today and prepare for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be very different. It's going to change, and this is changing people. So help today is just people are in a reactive state, particularly in mid-March, just a crazy reactive state. They've got to go remote. They need to be up and running and operational in a day. They've never run cloud contact center before. They don't have the IT framework to be able to do it, and so on and so on and so on. And so as a result, we've seen, this is maybe more from an SMB perspective, we saw the types of companies coming to us just completely change overnight. Government, education, nonprofits. These were the companies that were really saying just come to us in droves because they were searching for an urgent solution. And so the focus then was just do whatever it takes, provide an amazing experience to get these companies up and running. And then for existing customers, to Alex's point, do whatever it takes to make them successful as possible. We held webinars to make sure that companies knew how to go remote. They knew all the right features to be using. And we just focused on that. If they needed cuts and discounts, we were giving it to them. The full focus is just be there for them at this moment. And they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that really great customer experience. And then on the second side, the prepping for tomorrow, I think that's really going to be about, you've got lots of companies that have not gone to the cloud yet, and these sort of laggards in the market, and they're all getting shoved forward. And so what we're thinking about really heavily is what areas of the market are we going to see demand start to spike from, and maybe what areas of the market have been more traditional or in that laggard category. And I think that will change quite dramatically as companies look for contingency planning, continuity, and those things. And so we're really thinking about what verticals and industries this will impact.
I really like the, take care of today, prepare for tomorrow. I am sure several of our partners, including yours truly, are probably going to write that down and steal that. So no royalties for you, Jeff. Sorry. Sticking with you for a minute, you mentioned SMB. For the channel community, historically, contact center has been seen as a premium service. It's the $10, $20, $30, $100,000 MRC anchor customer that we all pray for, but some partners may or may not feel comfortable in that space. So my question to you is contact center actually affordable, and does it have a place in the SMB marketplace?
Or our traction today would say yes. Yes, it does, and yes, it does on a global scale. I think the big difference there, or maybe what changes is the differentiators and what's important in that segment of the market. Where we view opportunities in the SMB is what they desire is it's got to be ridiculously easy to use in self-service. They can be self-onboarded, they can have onboarding tutorials, they can sign up for a trial, they can experience it, they can add users, they can do all these things on their own. We've had many customers, even more the large ones for us, go to sleep at night, we wake up in the morning, a customer's on, and they've launched it to all their employees already. So yes, but it's got to have some critical elements. It's got to be really self-service. Additionally, we believe that the integrations are critical at the SMB level. They're using a variety of tools. They're generally not using consolidated platforms, a variety of tools, because they're just signing up for them ad hoc and much of the time. And so you got to be able to bring all those tools together and integrate them to provide a better customer experience. Make sure that you have those omni-channel workflows that you might have at the enterprise, but you're bringing that back down to the SMB through the integration component. Then last is you need to be competitive on the feature sets, but there's certain things that the SMB maybe you aren't going to need. There's probably not as much depth on things like workforce management. So you need to be competitive and bring them down at a level that's cost efficient for the SMB. You don't have to have quite the same depth though. You just have to be competitive in those areas. So you need to really focus on those differentiators, make sure the productivity parts are competitive. And then there's some areas that the SMB is not going to, that might be additional costs at the enterprise that the SMB is not going to value so much.
Awesome. And Aircall is, as a cloud-first organization, you're famous for no phones for your UC, and you've done a great job in working in with that SMB base. Rusty, to you, as we look, Nice in Contact is one of those companies, originally started premise-based, moved into the cloud, has closed some of the largest deals in the contact center space in history. Some of those with CNSG. Thank you for that. what about you? What is your position on the affordability of contact center and its fit in the SMB world today?
So, so Nice in Contact, when you look at the SMB space, so I sold into SMB for 3 years. I ran our SMB division for 6. And I know, very intimately what some of these customers need in terms of affordability. And what you actually find when you get into these accounts is that they're overbought. So they actually have, as Jeff mentioned, they have 5 to 6 to 7 solutions that they're using to solve their problem. They need to route contacts, schedule people, make sure they're saying the right things, get customer feedback, and use that reporting to make change. That's what call centers have to do. And so what you find when you get into them, even at 40 seats, 50 seats, they still have to solve those same problems. The problems don't just disappear. So what you do when you get into those scenarios and you start having these conversations is you find out that a lot of them have cobbled together a lot of different solutions. It's the same in the enterprise, by the way. They're just different. They'll cobble together different solutions and they try to solve all their business problems and they try to become agile with all these different platforms. And they don't integrate well. They don't play well. And they're actually spending too much. We've seen clients spending $700 a month on their tech stack for the contact center per user. $700 a month. So it's critical that we can be able to consolidate those, but the problem is you can't go without them. Because if you do go without them and you say, hey, all you need is just this queuing, they have to buy all those other solutions down the line anyway, and it ends up hurting them. And by the way, it ends up going to other vendors and not to your pocket as a partner. So it's a better approach to take it and see what they really need, talk through each of the use cases and give them a solution that's pre-integrated, that just works, that's easy to deploy, that functions, and it can solve the problem. And again, focusing on business outcomes, focusing on customer experience, focusing on lowering cost, on labor. Because if you just focus on technology cost, you're going to have a problem. It's going to hurt them. It's actually going to hurt them if they're just buying cheap stuff.
Great point. Great point. Alex, how about Genesys, especially as the reformation to Genesys Cloud, a lot more competitive pricing? Where does Genesys fit when it comes to the SMB marketplace?
I mean, I think we've got a strong presence from an SMB standpoint, and everybody kind of defines it differently. But I think we've got thousands of customers that kind of fit the typical SMB mold. A couple of these guys, Jeff and Rusty, have already mentioned a few things. One, that the cost of a CCaaS platform or the cost of the technology usually only makes up 15 to 20% of the actual cost of an agent. Right. So if if they're paying $500 a month, $400 a month for the tech stack, that agent's still making $30,000 a year. So we have to keep that. One thing that we have to do is we have to keep that in the right lens, right? So is it expensive? Yes, it's a premium product, but it's not expensive in the grand scheme of what we're trying to accomplish. Going back to the business value and reducing costs, the only reason, and people on my team have heard me say this countless times, there are only 2 reasons why anybody buys our stuff, in contact stuff, Aircall stuff. It's only to make money or save money. If you can't get down to the meat of that, they're not going to buy it. Nobody's buying it because it's cool, right? They're doing it. And it is cool, right? We've worked here for 7, 10, 15 years, but it's all about saving money or making money. And, we've got really good customers that, I talked to one of our customers in Arizona, and he said, our head accounting guy called me and said, your contact center costs have gone up 40%. And he said, yeah, but our revenues have tripled because they're using their customer experience in a way that is strategic to go to market. And they're winning bigger deals. They're winning different deals in their business because of the technology that we're able to power for them. So I think, you have to keep it in a frame of reference. If you look at it surface level, yes, it can be looked at as expensive. But I think when you break it down from an SMB standpoint, it absolutely is a differentiator and one that customers should invest in, and they are. We're seeing that that customers are investing in that space.
That's a key point. The idea that contact center is ultimately it can be a money saver. Rusty touched a lot on the human costs, but also it can be a money maker. And sometimes those are two different stakeholders within the company. One's worried about cutting the costs, one's worried about, the sales coming in the door. And contact center is something that absolutely needs to be brought up because it does affect that overall customer experience and what that end user's perception is of your customer. Absolutely. Great stuff there.
One of the things that all of our teams provide, not that I'm speaking for the others, but the cost, right? The money making side of it is sometimes hard to quantify to the guy that's stroking the check, right? Because the increase in value could be in customer, net promoter score, could be in referrals, could be in bigger deals. It's hard to directly tie that increase in spend in the contact center to that. But that's what our teams are here for, right? Our teams are the pros at selling this and helping your teams talk to your customers about how to look at this value.
Great stuff. Great stuff. So let's get into the bread and butter time. For our partner community, hopefully they've gotten from this so far just a little bit of the feel and the culture and the product lines from your three organizations. Let's talk about what a customer looks like. Rusty, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about what a nice in-contact customer is. What's your bread and butter?
Yeah, so typical bread and butter for us is 20 to 1,000 seats is really where we focus. And that's where most of our services organization is. That's where most of our teams are. And we've segmented in a way where we have an SMB, a premier, and a key account organization. And we've done it top to bottom, services, sales, everybody, to better focus on those segments. And that's really where we focus. I mean, if you're under 20 seats, typically it's difficult to kind of take advantage of the technology. If you got 5 people, you can manage them, you can schedule them, you can make sure they're saying the right things. But when you're over 20 seats, contact center seats and up, that's a big differentiator. And then we are right now, from a cloud standpoint, a pure cloud solution, the very best option, right? From a contact center perspective, nice in contact for the largest accounts. So,
well, I will say probably the other two on this call would probably want to debate that point with you, but I love the fire. I love the fire. Jeff, from your standpoint, what is a bread and butter customer for Aircall?
20 to 100 in size would be our typical number of seats. And great customers. One thing about Aircall is we have an international company. We have an very international customer base. Teams in France, Germany, UK, Spain, and growing very fast in Australia. And so typically, yes, that size, but also if they have multi-offices and have to deploy across different regions, we have an infrastructure that's set up very, very well for that. And so teams that need multiple teams, multiple offices that are within that size are great customers for us.
And one thing with your offer that I actually saw in person was how it integrates as its own UCaaS solution, literally provisioning numbers in Europe in 20 seconds. I mean, yes, pretty impressive, pretty impressive. Alex, to you, what is the bread and butter for Genesys?
Yeah, I'd say bread and butter is very similar to a nice in contact, right? I mean, from a 20 to 1,000 is probably the sweet spot. We've got, like I said, we've got customers that have upwards of 30,000 agents in an individual account. I think we do really well with customers that have a lot of different components, different divisions within an account. So we've got, we do provide a UCaaS platform, so we can provide the phone system as well. We've got the quality management, workforce management, all built in, all in one system from a roles and permissions standpoint. And we do really well with global deployments. So multinational companies that have a lot of geographic locations, I think we excel in. The other thing that I think is really unique, especially in this partner community, is we have the flexibility. So we are our own telco, so we have the ability to provide the telco. But if a customer came to us and said, "Hey, we've got AT&T or we've got, whatever the other telco carrier might be," we can do a very easy SIP connection to them. So we're running the software and they're running the telco, which makes it really helpful for that customer that said, "Hey, I've got a 3-year contract with my carrier. Can I still use you guys?" Absolutely, we can.
Awesome stuff. All right, guys, we come to our final question here for you. And again, thank you, all three of you, for being on the call today and really illustrating what I think are not only three top choices in the CCaaS community, but also some very different flavors that I think can play well in multiple bids for our customers so they can really find the one that fits for them. Let's talk about sales resources. One of the things about CCaaS that is can be viewed as both a great thing or a bad thing, depending on the partner you talk to, is a lot of times the teaming mechanism, where a partner development manager who knows the partner matches that channel partner, that opportunity up with an account executive, primarily a direct Salesforce person who's going out there, and they're the expert, right? They know your product cold, and they're there to help with the demos and get things done. But of course, some partners really like to have full control. So, Alex, we're going to stick with you on this one. Tell us a little bit about the teaming philosophy at Genesys and why that is a good fit for our partners.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're very focused on enabling the channel to be our top producing kind of avenue of new business. Mm-hmm. And with that, I think we would provide, or we are providing, all the support and resources that a partner would need. Whether they choose to use it or not is kind of up to the opportunity in question. So we've got 4 divisions of our sales team. We've got kind of a small business, a mid-market size company, more commercial, large, 1,000-seat contact center, and then an enterprise named accounts, biggest whales in the world type organization. So from a sales perspective, we've got that. Each one of those regions have their own technical supporting roles as well as account managers. So we kind of span the range there. And then from a partnership standpoint, right, we're looking at our partners to kind of guide us in the best way to engage. I would say traditionally we're best at what we do, which is our product and our technology. You guys obviously have the insights in the business. So really forming a strong partnership so that we go in together in that scenario is what gets the best outcomes. But we have a ton of resources available, and we look to our partners to help guide that engagement style. Whether you want us to take kind of ride shotgun, or sit in the back seat, or drive the car.
I like that. That's a great analogy, Alex. You win the analogy award of the day. Rusty, tell us a little bit about the teaming philosophy at Nice in Contact and why that a partner shouldn't be scared of that.
Yeah, I think the first thing to know is that we want you to know who the sales reps are in the field that line up with the kind of accounts that you pursue. We want you to know them. We want you to get to understand how they function and how they tick. Because if you're going to bring somebody into your account, you better know who they are. So what we did, we rolled out a whole field certification program. We've trained our entire sales organization on how to work with you and show you the proper respect and to operate in the way you want. We know that partners run the accounts, they lead them. We also know that partners sell a lot more than just the contact center solution, but you need us to help, right, to walk alongside. So our sales organization, we have a series of training programs we put together for you. Our sales team, one-on-one, will walk through things with you and show you different components of the platform and help to plan on how we pursue accounts. And that gives you a feel of who they are and how they function, but it also gives you some one-on-one education you may want. We also have a partner academy where we'll train and certify you on the platform. We also have a demo academy. We have a demo click-through platform that you can use to be able to demo the product yourself. I mean, we will go as far as you want to in how you build your business and do lead generation. We can train you on sales development tactics and give you contacts to pursue. We can help you understand how to sell and how they operate. We can help you understand how the platform functions technically, and we'll get you introduced to our sales organization. We track all of this programmatically. We want to make sure that we're doing it so that we have tight integrations with you, great relationships, give you the education you need to be able to win, and then make sure that you know the structure that we impose on our teams so we can mutually hold them accountable to executing in the way you need them to. So we get partner channels. I mean, we had partners before we had sales reps. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting you in the best way that we can. And it's good. It's good.
It's good. I like it. Fantastic. Jeff, take us home. Tell us a little bit about the sales resources and your philosophy on helping partners get those deals in.
Yeah, I think there's 2 parts. One is if it's necessary, and then 2 is our philosophy on providing it. So our belief is, one, we can train the partner because the software is so ridiculously simple, easy to use, easy to set up for their customers. So if the partner wants to run it, they want to go and they get up and running, they can do that. We'll provide the support to train them and to train the trainer in a sense. But we empower partners to be able to take that and just run with it if they'd like to. On the flip side, our account executives are extremely integrated with our channel program, and we can provide that sales support as is needed. But where I see it being most valuable is actually post-sale, and making sure in the 30 days after the sale is made. That's where we really want to make sure that you are as successful as possible. Our onboarding team is there, making sure that the customer is as successful as possible. Because if they have a really fantastic experience, which is somewhere where the magic comes in with Aircall, is post-sale in that first 30 days, they're going to be customers for life. You're going to have a good experience, and you're going to feel better about it next time as well. It's in rolling out Aircall with a partner. So that's kind of how we think of it.